Vertigo in gaming, how far we have come. Today, we are taking a look at Gravity Rush, an action-adventure game first dropping on the PlayStation Vita back in 2012, which eventually got a remastered port to the PlayStation 4 about 3 years later by the folks over at Blue Point Games, which will be the version of the game that I am talking about. Now, for those who don't know about Blue Point Games, they've actually been in charge of some recent top-of-the-line remakes such as Shadow of the Colossus, haven't started it yet, and more recently Demon's Souls for the PlayStation 5, haven't started it yet. Considering the developer mainly focuses on remakes, what can we expect from them before their biggest successes? Let's rush in and find out. I've heard enough about this game that I've always warranted a curiosity enough to the point where I wanted to pick up a physical copy. Well, damn, even a pre-owned, it still offers around 60 bucks. In Gravity Rush, you take on the role of an amnesiac girl who is dubbed Cat, with a K, very important, alongside an astral cat named Dusty, who grants her powers of defying gravity to assist the townsfolk of Henskyville against the creatures known as Nevi, which resemble the Heartless from the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Now, the first main real premise of the game starts off as a journey of self-discovery and how we figured out how Cat got into this world without any real traces of memory of her own. I mean, I can relate to that. When I came into this world like 27 years ago, I couldn't recall a thing for the first 5 years. Through your journey, Cat eventually learns that there are other users of a similar power that she holds, dubbed shifters. Ha! I get it, because they shift gravity. The main other shifter you encounter is named Raven. She is seen more as a rival and will try to stop you throughout your quest at first. During the time in this world, you assist NPCs in their own problems that slowly lead towards back to the main objective, to save the world from the threat of Nevi, and to get more information about your backstory. And while you also work alongside a godlike creator named the Creator, though it is confirmed that he does go by Gage. He seems pretty cool. Look into his eyes and tell me you don't trust him with a face like that and that kind of wardrobe. So here's the thing. Gravity Rush focuses a ton of the gameplay on a mixture of platforming challenges, along with combat against the Nevis, and for the most part, the game shines very well in this manner. At first, you will feel very uncomfortable and will fail at times, and you know what? That's okay. This game does a great job at teaching you the basic of Cat's powers. You see, you can shift gravity using the R1 button to get Cat in sort of a launch mode, and then you use your right thumbstick to center where you want to launch Cat forwards with the representation of the blue circle, and then hitting R2 again will send you flying in that direction. You can also use L2 to reset gravity. What this does is basically treats it back to as if normal gravity laws are applying. Though be warned, when you do this, ensure you are going to fall on something. Because if you're, example, upside down exploring underneath the city, the moment you hit L2, you're falling down. The thing is though, Cat's powers are a finite resource. It will take time to charge back up, though it's rare for you to completely fall into a dead zone. And when you do, the game doesn't penalize you really at all when this happens. And over the course of the game, around the world, you'll find these power purple crystals that can be used to level up Cat's abilities, whether it be used for increasing the power of her attacks, decreasing the rate of losing your gravity gauge, and even for a few side quests used as a form of currency. So often taking a moment to just explore will reward you in some great results, not only powering up Cat's abilities, but getting you more efficient at controlling of this new game. Give it time and you'll become a master of shifting gravity in no time. Aside from the platforming, I did mention there are some combat sections as well. These usually pertain to defeating a set amount of Nevi within a time frame, and of course, the occasional boss here and there. Now, Cat at first is mainly only able to do what I dub the gravity kick. Imagine this being something like the homing attack from Sonic the Hedgehog, as well as a default kick on normal gravity section. As you explore the areas Gage sends you to, Cat does acquire some more powerful moves, such as cosplaying as a tornado, being an earthbender, and of course, raiding a black hole that moves about 5 miles per hour. Of course, these more powerful moves have a cooldown, so we can't spam them like they're going out of style. Now, as an action-adventure RPG, the story does the job certainly. The game starts out with Kat again in a world that she is not familiar with and lacking memories beforehand, and after that, the game provides somewhat of an episodic take of how we go from point A to point B, which ultimately harkens back to the main point for us, as the player, as to figure out what the happened to Kat and who she is. Now, there are twists and turns that I didn't see coming that really grabbed my attention, wanting them to fully flesh them out, and for the most part, Gravity Rush nails on this. Like, there's this one time when Kat goes into... And then another time where during the... Okay. We can't recycle the same joke within 20 seconds. It just doesn't work like that. We'll come back to this joke in a second. Now, granted, one thing I do want to address is that the game leaves some holes that are filled in during the sequel, creatively dubbed Gravity Rush 2. So if you have any questions about what happened in Gravity Rush's story, the sequel, or even the internet, has definitely got you covered. Taking a moment back into Kat's character, one thing I've noticed that happens quite often during dialogue is that we often get to see what Kat is thinking just above her dialogue to the character she's speaking to on screen. Personally, I love this. As a player of the game, we have our own thoughts and feelings about what is happening. However, seeing Kat's thoughts onto it as well presents a fuller picture of Kat's perspective on the manner, and sometimes this is funny as well. Also, considering the fact that during the game, Kat identifies herself as a hero who is going to help out the citizens just to help them, is very nice. Personally, I think Kat's a very likable character. The music from the game is really something. There are times where the game's soundtrack wants to lead with something light, such as a piano playing light arpeggios, and then after a few measures, a full ensemble drops when the action really starts moving. The soundtrack often goes into very different places with its arrangements. That may sound like a bad thing, but it's really not. It keeps you on your toes, and often the tones fit the point of the score. If anything, the score itself actually feels like it'd be something more into a cinematic movie that is slightly steampunk era. But if anything, it's worth a listen, and complements the game exceedingly well. The choice of instrumentation fits whether Kat's falling at the speed of sound, sliding through the city streets, or even talking to an NPC that we never see or hear from again. One of the issues, though, I found in the game itself was the combat. You will pretty much never use the regular kicking. It does far too little damage, and on anything above 5 feet in the air, it's just not effective. You'll mainly be using the gravity kick, and the thing that makes it so much easier to use is it has a homing-like effect. And even if you're slightly off, the game has a way to lean you into the right direction towards your enemy. And to be fair, these moves do quite a bit of damage, which is nice. However, a main issue for me with the combat is actually the delay it takes. Let me explain. So, when you do a gravity kick, there is a delay if you're far away enough from your enemy, and during that time, the enemy themselves have no trouble launching an attack at you, which throws off your focus, causing you to spend more times to recenter yourself, like literally recenter yourself, and also meaning to go find, HP if you're hovering into the red zone, which causes you to have a sense of lack of focus because you need to kind of figure out and recover what's going on. Along with the fact that if there's multiple enemies on screen at the same time, it can be pretty dicey when things like that happen. So to get around this, I would just recommend doing a gravity rush kick pretty close to your enemy. Along with the combat as being very repetitive, it also is troubling that with the story, there are some holes that are not even touched on that transpired in this game. Nonetheless, Gravity Rush handles like no other game I've played in quite some time. The atmosphere and the gameplay excel when they need to, and is a great foundation to what I hope is further expanded upon in the sequel. I will be jumping into the sequel to this game in due time, and I hope you're all there along for the ride because I will definitely have a video to follow up this game as well. Since I've heard through the grapevine that they've added quite a bit of content to the sequel, and the world is nearly 3 times longer than the first one, I have quite a bit of work out left there for me. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. I have plenty of plans for the future and I'm really looking forward to them. Consider following me on all the social platforms for more updates and even suggestions on future content. Links in the description below. Join me for the live streams as well over at twitch.tv/Metallic Aerox, where I stream every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 9 p.m. Pacific time. And I would love you to all be a part of our community. Take it easy, everyone. Peace.